would be 33, 21, 28. Okay, so let me just point out just the vocabulary, and I'll just use highlighters. I like highlighters. They're cool. In yellow, I am going to highlight then the marginal frequencies. The marginal frequencies are here and here. Okay, in a different color. In a different color. The joint frequencies then would be the things in the middle of the table that are not total. So that would be right there. Okay, so hopefully I've given you enough information that in a few minutes you are going to finish page 2 of your note-taking guide. On to the next thing. So now we're going to talk about still two-way tables, but we're going to talk about something called relative frequency. Does anybody know what a relative frequency is? It is a proportion or probability. And how we are going to write our proportion or probability with the tables is as a percentage. So we're going to give a percent. Okay. So I'm hoping that these make sense. So these are marginal relative frequencies. These are percentages. How would I figure out a marginal percentage? Well, I would take the number in the margin, which we call the marginal frequency, and then I would divide it by the total of the table. Okay, so how would I find then the joint relative frequency? I would take the joint frequency, which is in the middle of the table, and I would divide by the total of the table again. Okay, the last one's a little different, and typically it's the one that the people have the most trouble with. When we're doing these tables, do you remember how we said there was two different categories? Okay, a conditional relative frequency is just a probability based on one condition. It's just probability based on one condition. And so this is a little different. Do you notice in both of these I was dividing by the total of the table? If I want a conditional probability or conditional relative frequency, this time, and I'll star it, you are going to just divide by the category total. Okay. We're just going to divide by the category total. Okay. So, let's take a look. And we are going to first do joint relative frequencies. Okay, so what we should do, it says, is we're going to take the joint frequency and divide it by the total of the table. So I left some space here. You're going to want a calculator because we're going to write these as percentages, right? And also please, please, please write down what you're doing, because you're not, if you don't remember how you found the percentages, that's going to be really hard later on. I'm going to do 16 divided by 93. And I get 0.172, so how should I write that? What percent? 17%. Alright, I'm going to do 28 out of 93 to get 30%. I'm going to do 6 out of 93 to get 6%. And then 11 out of 93 to get, it's 0.118, I'm going to write 12%. Okay, notice I just asked for the joint relative frequencies, so I'm not doing this yet. Would you do the bottom row for me, please? So hopefully you saw the last one was 0.075, which, if I was rounding to the nearest percent, would round up to 8%. If I did this correctly, at this point, what should happen? All of these percentages should add up to 100. Do they? You could check a second. Okay, good. Then, now, I'm going to draw an arrow. Those are the things in the middle. Let's find the marginal relative frequencies. So now I take the marginal frequencies and I divide by the total of the table. So this, now, by the way, guys, what's another way that I should be able to do this? What should this equal without me getting my calculator out? Does anybody know? 26%. Because doesn't this total make up this plus this? And we're doing these out of 93. But just verify, does 24 divided by 93? No, because that's the wrong thing. 26%. See that? What should this one come out to be then? 31%. 23%. 20%. Going this way, this is out of 93 again. This is 66%. And 34%. Okay. So, I could ask different questions. Like I could say, of the 93 adults, what percentage were men? What would you tell me? 56%. Of the 93 adults, what percent preferred baseball? 31%. Okay. Or I could get more specific. Those were just marginals. I could say, of the 93 adults, what is the percent that was a man that liked tennis as his favorite sport? And you would say 6%. All right. I'm going to let you guys do this example in a little bit on your own. Yeah. Hold on. I think this one is, there's a typo in. Let me just double check. Mrs. McDonald told me there was a typo. I wanted to see if she's right. Oh, I guess not. No, this is good. Okay, never mind. Last thing then that we're going to talk about, this is different. Because you might say, what? What's the saying? Okay. These are conditions, and I often tell people, when I do conditional, you got to really focus here. This is where a lot of people make mistakes. You're not taking the total table, you're only taking one category, okay? And so, if I said, hey, I wanted to break down this table just by sport, by basketball, and it's like I'm taking away everything else and just looking at basketball. And now what's the total? 24. Or if I said, hey, I want to take this table and I only want to look at the women in the table, then you take everything off except the women, and then now what's the total? 32. Okay. And so when you're doing a conditional relative frequency, I'm going to ask you to write some percentages in terms of the condition. Okay? So here's the first one. Given each gender, find the distribution of each sport. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I am going to ignore everything else, but I'm going to take one of the genders, which was the men who were surveyed. And so I'm not looking at the whole table. I am only looking at the men who were surveyed. So now what is my total? 61. Let's write down by gender. And this is where you need to write down what you're doing, otherwise you're going to forget when you do your homework. Let's do 16 divided by 61. 26%. Let's do 28 divided by 61. That's 46%. Let's do 6 divided by 61. 10%. And 11 divided by 61. 18%. If you add these together, you should get 100%. And so what this does is this now says of the total men, what percentage of men said basketball was their favorite sport? 26%. I'm going to compare that to you guys over here. Do you see these are not the same percentages? Same data? They're not the same because I'm asking a different question. This is saying, of all of the people surveyed, how many were men that preferred basketball? This one's saying, out of only men, what percentage prefer basketball? Does that make sense? A little difference there? Okay, let's do another category because I said by gender. Now let's do the females. So I'm going to do a different color highlighter. If I was doing then only the women surveyed and I was breaking down which sport they preferred, what am I going to be dividing these by now? Very good, 32. So 8 divided by 32 is 25%. 1 divided by 32 is 3%. 16 divided by 32 is, and guys, I really strongly encourage you that you're writing down the division here, so in a little while if you get confused, because you are, I guarantee you, at some point, I sometimes get confused. You're going to get confused. Wait, what did I do? Write down what you divided by so you can go back and figure it out. 22%. Okay, so what is it? If I said, hey, of just the women surveyed, what percentage of women said their favorite sport was baseball? 3%. So this was just breaking them down by their gender and then into sports. Okay, so here's what you guys are going to finish then, and then we're not going to go, you're going to finish this for homework. In this question, I ask you to do this by sports. So what you're going to do is, and just write at least this down so you remember, I would like you to do basketball, and we're going to write a column for basketball. So when we're doing basketball, what are we going to be dividing by? What number? The total of in the basketball column are 24. Okay. When I'm doing the sport baseball, I'm going to be dividing by 29. Tennis, I'm going to be dividing by 22. Okay. And then I still have men and women, but just that will help you at least organize it. So I hope you have an idea of how the two different ways we do two-way tables as just numbers and as percentages. And then would you turn the page? We are going to do pages 1 through 5. I said just get through the top half of 5, okay? And this, I'm not going to even give you your assignment booklet. So don't go back. We skipped around, right? Go back and just finish the examples or the try it. I put some things in there to try. Okay? All right. Some of you, in about 5 minutes after I go through your assessment with you, are going to take your linear programming, the one problem that we did in class yesterday. So if you are going to do that, go ahead and put this away. If you did that yesterday, then just leave this off to the side because you're going to do that at when we're done going through your assessment. All right, so these are the scores some of you saw that I put in earlier today. I think. Oh, here we go. Easy, and some of you have been working really, really hard and did a fabulous job, and so kudos to you. Some of you struggled, and so remember, we're going to log, you're going to retake, we're going to start hopefully working. Some of us have already recommitted ourselves to working harder and putting in the time, okay? But I'm going to just quick go through these. So this was a break-even problem. So here are the costs. 500,000 plus 400x, and equals 600x was the profit. So you had to solve, and you should have gotten 2,500 wheelchairs.